What's going on, brothers? Welcome back to a second episode of the Hall of Game podcast. As you guys know, this segment is dedicated towards African American men who have goals of reaching, whether it's personal development, whether you're trying to get into entrepreneurship or go the corporate ladder. We try to address all three angles. And I want to just give a shout out to Brother Gabe A. He's been really instrumental in producing, I would say, about 80% of the topics or ideas for this platform as we've been going. Other brothers, Andre Hatchett, Maurice November, and now our brother Wrench Turner. I do want to say I do appreciate all the emails. I do have another brother that we're going to be talking with tomorrow. And so many brothers are reaching out now wanting to be a part of this community. Brother Engineering Cannabis is a mechanical engineer also. So good to see a lot of you black men emailing us. This show is dedicated to professional black men. If you're in the UK or in the West somewhere or anywhere, you're also welcome to put in. I don't know how this may translate, but I'm pretty sure today's show is going to translate to anybody in the world. No matter where you're at, you're going to be able to benefit this. So let me start off with introducing myself. My name is O'Shea Duke Jackson. I run this channel. I came up with the concept of the Hall of Game, but Gabe, I was Peter, he is now Paul. So he basically took it to the whole next generation of this. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself. What's up, brother Gabe?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Gabe A. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. A dude from the hood. Started off in engineering because I like math and whatever. And went into electrical engineering, then started working in like a manufacturing environment. Started off there in automotive with Ford Motor Company, transitioned over more into a nuclear type of environment as a nuclear INC engineer. Then cybersecurity kind of took over my career field. So I made a transition. Now I do cybersecurity and engineering as a consultant within that industrial type of environment. And I'm in school and, I'm just happy to be able to provide some game as it concerns the corporate type of environment. So, yeah, happy to be here, man. And thanks for having me.
No problem, man. A brother who is, very talented himself came on yesterday and gave us a lot of good information. Brother Wrench Turner, go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah. What's going on, boss? Wrench Turner here. Just to give you a brief history of how I came to be where we are right now. Kind of the same story from the hood. Grew up in a less than desirable environment early on in life, and made a lot of mistakes, but spent some time really thinking my way through it, and ended up getting to the point to ended up doing six positions in 6 years with the company that I'm currently with. And really trying to share this information, man, because I think that it's something that a lot of brothers need to hear. So glad to be here, man, and appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. No, thank you for giving us the opportunity to know you and your knowledge. And yesterday, me and you did a really awesome episode on, it was pretty much about your personal life and how you went from $13 an hour to $100,000 a year, pretty much going over the struggles of, going back to school, balancing your work life and personal life, and then taking the opportunities to do things that other people didn't want to do to get yourself up the ladder, and then using some of the skill sets that you used before you got into the industry to pretty much get up to the management level. I'm just pretty much doing a recap for those of you that remember yesterday's show, and then to get you to where you are now, which is in management. But now, since you are in management and you have teams of people, and we have people, obviously, like, Gabe and Andre Hatchett in the chat. If you want to come up, brother, you can. Now we're talking about analytics, because you judge yourself on analytics. I'm sure you're judged by them, and you judge your people on your team on analytics. How do you use data and analytics to judge performance or to enhance performance on key performance indicators?
Absolutely. So it's funny when you talk about KPIs, because I look at that kind of stuff every morning, right? I do a morning meeting with my team, and that's one of the things that we cover is KPIs, or key performance indicators, like you talked about. In my particular field, we use what's called a squid pig type of acronym. And what squid pig stands for is safety, quality, delivery, productivity, and growth. under your safety metric, you're really tracking how safe are you keeping the individuals, right? A lot of people don't understand that if you are in manufacturing, more specific, or any industry where you have benefits, people getting injured on the job actually costs the company quite a bit of money, right? So you have different things that you track under your safety metrics. Some could be called what's called RRNs, which would be a risk reduction number. You'll have certain call outs if something happened in another facility and it has the potential to happen somewhere else. We'll share that information amongst ourselves as leaders and then bring it down to the floor level to try and make sure that that same injury doesn't happen in that particular plant. Under the quality metric, if you are dealing with food or if you're dealing with any kind of drinks or anything like that, or even if you are replicating something, you want to make sure that those tolerances are exactly where they need to be so that you're not introducing defective product or defective material into the customers, right? So that's where the quality metric, and then you go through each one of them, and your delivery may be something depending on what your industry is. Your productivity is your baseline, right? Your efficiency of where you want to be at, and then the growth piece is where I really like to kind of really put a lot of attention in because it relates to growing people. So not to get too deep, but that's how we use analytics and metrics and KPIs.
Well, let's recap that, because I mean, obviously, the last part, which I think is very important, is growth. But what are some of the other goals that we're trying to do? Like, I know, like as far as in your industry, it's safety. That's interchangeable with their. But what are some of the main things that you think that key performance indicators will reach out to in any industry? Growth is one of them. What are some of the other? Performance, obviously.
Yeah. So performance would be what we call productivity. Productivity is basically how efficient am I? How efficient is my process that makes me money, right? That's the biggest, the one that a lot of people pay attention to, right? Of course, all of the others are important too, but your productivity is basically going to tell you if you're winning or losing, and that's that's across any kind of demographic, any kind of field, any kind of industry.
Okay.
Right.
And let me ask you this.
True. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say that's very true, especially to kind of really even break it down to people to be able to visualize it, right? What does that productivity look like? I know when I was working with Ford, right? One thing that we were manufacturing were wire harnesses, right? So pretty much like the electrical distribution for like vehicles. So one thing, in order to make those wire harnesses, it actually went down a particular type of assembly line. So there was a line of harnesses, and all these harnesses had these different components that people had to put on them, or it was the machines that had to do some type of process. And the productivity or the output of that assembly line was what I used as a baseline to say, okay, I'm able to make this amount of wire harnesses in this amount of time. How can I increase that? Is it something that's stopping my production of this? Has it slowed down over time? Is that a cause of the weather? So, these things all contribute to me being able to, like Wrench was saying, to pretty much make money from my business. Because that's really what these processes do. These are money generators and money enablers.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me ask you this, though, because obviously I know being in a corporate environment, most people that work here that have a job, if you're a part of any kind of corporate 500, let's say you're on the front line, and that doesn't mean that you have a bad job because you're a frontline employee, but everybody has like, for example, I worked in a call center before, and it was call. How often were you off? On call wait. How was your close ratio as far as sales? How much did you sell? In this metric. So we had those KPIs, right? But let me ask you this: as a person that's in management, what KPIs are you judged upon?
So we have just like Brother Gabe was saying, we have a baseline. So I got to produce X amount of cases per hour, and I think that's kind of what you're asking. So I have to produce, just say if I have to produce 1,200 cases per hour of a particular size, right? If I'm meeting my 1,200 cases per hour, then of course I'm running in the green for those particular hours. If I fall below that, there are certain things that start to happen. I may need to, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and look at. We use what's called line view. I'm gonna go and look at line view and see where my pain point is on my production line, right? Wherever my pain point is on my production line, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna go and get eyes on that piece of equipment to see what's going on. Maybe maybe it's something that's intermittent. Maybe it'll run for 20 minutes and then it starts to bog down, and then the operators have to open the door and kind of go in and make adjustments. Long story short, I have to run 1,200 cases per hour. I'm not doing it. And then a chain of events start happening. I want to get eyes on it. I want to see when is the next time I can take that line down to get it fixed. Is it something that I need to take care of right now because it's early in the day and I have the rest of the day to make up?
Or that's your bottleneck, right?
Exactly. Perfect. That's my bottleneck, right? It's hurting my throughput. So those are the things that kind of, and that's where you really earn your money at as far as management. When something goes wrong, how fast can you get it taken care of to get that line back up to get the efficiency back up?
Okay. Let me ask Gabe a question, because obviously you're very familiar with the terminology, and I think anybody that's listening to the show, obviously, this is in general, okay, and we're just talking about one particular industry, but obviously this is in general. You are a person that is you contract work out. What are the typical when somebody hires you? You're a contractor, right? And so sometimes you do contract work.
Oh no, I work as a consultant. So
Okay.
Yeah. So like an organization will contact my consulting firm and then they'll send me out for that particular work. But I'm a permanent employee of the consulting firm. But yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. In the consulting firm that you work for, what key performance indicators are you judged on certain things that you need to do to be efficient?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. So it's kind of several things that I'm judged based upon. So I get a bonus every single quarter. So I have a quarterly bonus that's directly a result of certain goals that I've set for myself. So I might have set a goal to help to improve a particular process or a particular service that we give out. I might have another goal to say, I don't know, I want to produce some social media content around the work that we do. I might have a goal to say, hey, I want to be able to win us some additional business by making some business relationships at a conference. All these are weighed and discussed with my manager. And based upon those goals that I've set for myself and agreed on with my manager, I get a bonus every single quarter reflected of that. So those are some of those key performance indicators. But I guess in my overall work, it's really my chargeability. So my organization kind of puts out, so companies hire my firm in order to perform certain services, whether it can be like penetrate, like anything within cybersecurity, right? Within the industrial environment. So I'm charged at a particular rate. So there it goes back to what Rich was talking about. How are you making your money? So this is more of a business to business type of business model, right? So it's business, which is my consulting firm, to business that hire us is where we're able to gain our revenue. So the more that I'm able to be on projects, the more that I'm able to be charged for, that is the higher that goes, the more my productivity is. And that are really those key indicators. Because if my numbers, like if my chargeability is low, then it really is the question of, do I really need you? Right? You aren't really doing no work that's generating us money. So those are it's kind of like more in that consulting area. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, it made a lot of sense. And let me kind of maybe bring it home. As an employee, and let's say for people that are trying to do what Brother Rance Turner did, which is move up the corporate ladder. I'll use two examples. One, if you're an employee trying to move up, and number two, you have a business, and I'll use my social media expertise from what I know. Number one, what are the goals? If you're a person trying to improve key performance indicators at your job, what are the goals of the company? What are they trying to do? For your job title and your job description, what are you supposed to be doing? And what are the goals of the company for those indicators. For example, when you worked in a call center, and some of you guys have, we needed to be available for calls. If you were available for calls at 97 or 8% of the time, that was really good in that category. All right. Now I'm gonna relay that to some of you guys who watch sports. How do you judge quarterbacks? Dak Prescott, right? He's trying to get a big deal. He's trying to get like $36 million. How do you judge Dak Prescott? He needs to do what? Throw the ball and have a lot of completion percentages. Okay.
Produce.
When we want it, so 70%. That's right now. It used to be lower than that. For those who watch football, I'm pretty sure you return it, but back in the day, 60%. Now that's bad. Now 70% to be a good quarterback is what is needed. So accuracy is important. So if you're a quarterback trying to improve your accuracy, obviously you're throwing more routes, you're throwing more, So all of these things is what you're doing. You're working with the offensive coordinator to improve that. Same thing with anybody. The greatest running backs, yards per carry, receivers, yards per reception, yards after contact, whatever.
Yep.
A quarterback's job is to make completions.
Yeah.
A quarterback's job is to throw the, per pass attempt is to get the most yards he can per pass attempt, right? So these are the things that a quarterback needs to be able to do, not throw interceptions, obviously, things like that. Third down efficiency, all of these things are important. So if my job duty is to work any place on an assembly line, if it's to work in a call center, I need to know what are the things that in 6-7 categories that I need to do to improve on them. Right. And then typically what most companies do is after every month, you have a meeting with your supervisor. Those are those are your numbers, right? And sometimes people try to lie about it. Nigga, that's you. Let's just be, we're going to be honest.
Skew the numbers. Yeah, skew the numbers up. Yeah.
If you're not available, if you're not doing, and those numbers are your numbers, nobody's lying on you. The company's not lying on you, nigga. Those are your numbers, okay?
Yep.
What you need to do is you need to really have a real conversation about those numbers and ask your supervisor or higher ups, what can I do to be more efficient at improving these numbers? That's the only way you're going to get to the top, bro. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yep.
Let me just say this real quick. Thank you, Mr. Mister. If you're a person that's doing a business on social media or anywhere else, all right? If you're a YouTuber, for example, at least YouTube is nice enough. At the end of every month or every day you upload a video, they tell you what are the factors that matter on YouTube. Watch time, right? How long is your video and how often do people watch your video according to the length, okay? For people who want to click on a video, how good is the thumbnail? That's why you see sometimes I might hold up a show or something like that. I'm working on the thumbnail, for example. What is the age demographic of the people who watch you? What is their sex? Are they men or women? From then, those things, I can create a whole content strategy of that. A lot of times I think when a lot of the business in the Black community, we don't even know, okay, if we have a Black business or a business, number one, who are the customers? Okay. Who are the customers? How old are they? Do we know the market? All right. What's the price that people are buying at? For example, on Super Chat, when you guys donate money here, I know what the average amount of Super Chat is every, I can know what to expect. Patreon, all these people read the numbers. So every month I have to do my due diligence and go back and look at any analytic to adjust my content strategy, see what works and what doesn't work. And I think that as Black men, we got to have a real conversation about the numbers are there on our productivities, whether it's in the workplace or whether it's in our own personal business, and whether we want to know those numbers, good or bad, that's you. And they're there. Okay. And if you are failing, it is a reason because your numbers are telling you to. So I just wanted to add that in. And guys, anything else you wanted to say for that?
Yeah. So if anybody has a question about how do you harness the power of that information, right? So just say if somebody's not clear, right? I have the numbers, but I don't necessarily know how to go about harnessing that information to make an improvement. You do what's called a DMAIC. You use a DMAIC formula. Yeah. So DMAIC is the acronym is DMAIC. It's define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So in the define phase, you're really trying to look at the scope of your work, right? You're really trying to figure out, all right, where do I need to burn my calories as I really define what my problem is so that I can dive a little bit deeper. In the measure phase, you're looking at is my benchmark way too high based on my capability, or how do I basically measure where I want to be versus where I am, right? In the analyze phase, you start really digging into and trying to analyze the full picture within that scope. And when I say scope, I mean, I may have a production line with 15 machines on it, right? My scope is not going to be on the whole production line. It's going to specifically be on my bottleneck. In the improved phase of DMAIC, you're trying to improve whatever it is in my scope. I'm really trying to open up my bottleneck so that I can get more throughput, get more efficiency, and get up to where I need to be. In the control phase, you start implementing certain processes, or you start putting certain things into place to make sure that whatever caused you to be below where you need to be, you really want to have some kind of fail safe. So maybe that's some standard work, or it's a 1-point lesson on how to set up this machine, or it's almost like a cheat sheet, right? And you put these things in place to make sure any kind of improvements you've made, you don't have any kind of regression. So that's one way. That's one way of looking at if anyone that's listening, if you have your numbers and you're not sure on how to make the improvement to get to where you need to be, it's basically like O'Shea was just saying. You really want to dive into the numbers, look at where you're not being successful at, and really focus on that area and start trying to put things in place that will help that number improve so that it can really benefit the overall process, if
Absolutely.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, great points.
I
Gabe,
completely agree with that. Yeah, like that's so that DMAIC. So there's two different, and he's speaking Six Sigma right there, right? There's DMAIC and DMEDI. DMEDI is typically when you're forming a newer process, but that DMAIC is that acronym that you're using in order to improve your current processes. And let me tell you some experience I've had with that. Some things that can kind of be surprising, right? Because what happens in the corporate environment, especially like industrial environments, when you're using Six Sigma, that you typically are bringing in parties from a lot of different areas.
Yep.
So you might bring in somebody from the production line, like a production line supervisor. You might bring in an individual who's a developer, right? A software developer. You might bring in a finance person. You might bring in another manager, like all these different components who all are involved in a certain process. And then you're pretty much sitting down and you're going through templates, you're going through documents, you're going through emails, you're going through all the artifacts and evidences of what that process actually is to really understand what it is. And just as Rich was explaining, you go through that whole process where you're looking to improve, which is called process improvement methodology. You're trying to improve that process. And sometimes it might end in somebody getting fired. Or it might end in somebody losing a particular lead in a certain process, right? Because at times there can be redundancy, because all these people might be sitting down and saying, okay, I do this in this process. And another person might say, well, I do that. And those two things might be the exact same thing, right? So you're decreasing redundancy. You're decreasing, just as we were mentioning, that bottleneck to really get down to what is necessary for this process to take place or to improve the process. And just like I said, you might be eliminated. Somebody in that group might be eliminated, or some task or something that might be your bread and butter for why you're working might be eliminated from that whole process. But it's really saving organizations money and really letting you get down to what is necessary to perform this and to increase that process. So, definitely we just want to add a little bit to that for sure.
Absolutely.
Let me just do one quick. Let me shout out some people. Mr. I'm just here. So you say Black people don't support the streams that are all about effery. And then we have thank you, Engineering Cannabis. But is data analytics a good skill to cross over to stock market investment? I don't know if anybody knows that. I don't know nothing about that, brother. I don't know. Maybe Gabe or Ranch does.
Yeah, anybody know about all I know is that mine is suffering right now with this coronavirus. So
man,
I'm ready for that to be over.
Man, I'm down like 30K, 40K.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
shout out to Black Belt implication in designing a process utilizing data is king. Let me ask this just in general for brothers who are looking to get into management or a higher position. And I noticed that you talked about, what's my brother Art? That's my brother right here, Art Banaka. One of the things that you talked about is you know how to use, I believe you said yesterday, Wrench, you know how to use, is it Microsoft Excel?
Oh yeah, so all of the Microsoft Office programs, man, Excel, PowerPoint, I mean, yeah, Project, Visio, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop.
Okay.
Now this new one that I actually just got last week, updated version, and probably Gabe, you may want to look into it, brother. It's called Snagit, and Snagit is a beast, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On the new one, you can actually make like live standard work where you're walking through processes and you can put arrows and descriptions in, and you can actually talk over the recording, and it records your voice as you are putting it together. So really easy, really slick program, man. I think it's like 54. I use my company card, but it's like $54. It's $54 to get it. You download it from your email. They send you a link. It's made by a company called TechSmith. But a lot of those programs, the reason why you want to be able to use them is because you may be deeper in the weeds than the suits, right? So the suits are really just looking from a high level. They're looking at the numbers, but every now and then they want to come down and see, man, how is this guy really? How is he driving so much improvement? So they want to get people who may not be as strong as you in certain areas, and they may say, hey, we have this guy in another plant, and we want to get him to be able to operate at your efficiency. He runs the same package size. How do you do it? And so they come down, and basically that stuff you're able to show them that, hey, with my own acumen or my own aptitude, I put this together for the operators, and this is what we use. And that's basically your self-promotion to show how valuable you are to the company.
Yeah. I think that's super dope, because I had experience with that too, because it's not only, because just like you said, like you might be in the weeds, like you might work with individuals who are really pretty much hands on the product, on the line, but that doesn't always translate easily to, just like you said, the suits, the executive, the C-suite individuals. So not only is it important to understand the data and be able to get the data and be able to kind of act on the data, but even presenting that data to the process owners, right? To the people that are in charge. That's very important in order to be able to proliferate, or to even just display and show like, hey, I have a grasp on this, and I know how to make this better. And then you become something that they're trying to reproduce. So then that's where right, you start off, you could be a manager, but then you can be a manager of managers who are pretty much doing your job in multiple places. So definitely, like, absolutely, I definitely agree with that point.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to my big brother Craig Harper in the building. He got some game too, but also Black Heights. I told you, the legendary channel, Antoine Wade, NBA, Georgia Tech. He's like the managerial guru. He's been all over the world managing big projects, and I talked to you about him yesterday. Rich, I'm gonna hook you and him up on email.
Absolutely.
Black Heights says, love to hear this. Much respect, O'Shea. If I wasn't having the family time, I would love to have joined next time. Antoine, I'll tell you what I'm about to do. I was talking to my editor. I was talking about me and Gabe doing this. We're actually going to pre-record some of these, like, let's say 30 minutes. We'll have a live stream, but we're going to take it to like a 30 minutes, maybe one-on-one or group panel, and we're going to edit it, like make it a real, like cool show with a lot of the features and stuff like that. So we're going to up the quality of these. So I just want to say, shout out to Black Heights. He's a really bright person. He's been all over the world doing stuff like this. So you brothers definitely check out Brother Black Heights. Thank you, Driver 580. Good show. I like these combos. Let me ask you something, both of you brothers. So as far as, KPIs go, because what I always hear, I don't know if anybody is familiar. I know you probably, Brother Gabe, Jalen Rose. Anybody know Jalen Rose is?
Yeah, Jalen Rose from Detroit.
Yeah, basketball player.
Hooper.
So now the NBA is using a lot of, before they didn't use it, right? A lot of analytics are going on. Everybody's using analytics right now. The NFL's using analytics. I know the what's the guy that just bought the Carolina Panthers?
I know you're talking about. Forget his name.
David Tepper is huge on analytics.
Yeah.
Huge. Everything for him is about there. He's a billionaire, right? Sometimes somebody says, well, you know what? Analytics doesn't tell the whole entire story. Jalen Rose is arguing that all the time on the NBA. You know, you see guys
Charles
like
Barkley, Shaq don't like it either.
Right. So you have people, and let's just talk about this. I know, like, there's a high school called De La Salle, and De La Salle, a lot of the people that were getting scholarships in the 90s and 2000s, what they were doing was they knew how to cheat analytics in the combine. So, you know, they knew how to stay off something before a vertical jump, and, you know, they would stay off it for about a tenth of a second to improve it. So there are some people, you know, who say, well, analytics is just one part of the story as an employee. And also, I'm going to be honest, right? I have seen this, Brother Wrench, Turner, and Gabe. I've seen people who have moved up in management and were not the best in analytics. So I want to talk about that. Is analytics the whole entire story? And what if you're a person that wants to move up, but you're not the best person in analytics? I mean, because you see that happening all the time in corporate America. People are moving up, and their analytics are average. They're not the best. How can you address moving up with, let's say, your moderate analytics, or can you bring something other to the table? Because even in, you know, I'm being long with it. Even in medical school admissions, you talk about all the time. People that like for example, Antoine Weiss talked about this. His GMAT score wasn't the highest that it could have been, but he was able to leverage other qualities to get himself into one of the top MBA programs in the United States, which is Georgia Tech. How do you also bring other things to the package outside of analytics to make yourself more of a devastating person for the organization or for your business?
Yeah, so in my case, right, we use what's called good in, good out, bad in. So the numbers, like they say, numbers don't lie, people do, right? So you may get some bad numbers back, right? Or the numbers are not quite adding up. That just means that you're either not tracking the right thing or you're not tracking the right thing correctly. So as long as you are really realistically tracking what you're supposed to, those numbers are going to tell you where you need to be at. So for someone who's struggling in understanding data or understanding how to harness or how to take those numbers and really make an improvement, that goes back to what we were talking about yesterday when you start talking about your belts, right? White belt, yellow belt, green belt, black belt, master black, and then up to coach. So in the white belt phase, you're getting a really low-level, entry-level introduction into Six Sigma, right? And it's really explaining everything from a high level. But as you go up the chain in your belts, you really start to get down in the weeds to how to track the right thing. So there's a way to learn it. A lot of companies may, and that's actually what I did. I actually got certified through the company that I work for. But if someone's company doesn't offer that, there's tons of resources online where if you go into it with an open mind and you go into it really trying to understand exactly how to build this particular skill set, there are ways to learn it if you're not strong in that particular in those particular areas as far as it deals with analytics or as it deals with data, right? So that's one of the things that I would tell people. If you're not comfortable doing something like that, or you're not comfortable really speaking to how to use that information, go ahead and start looking at getting your Lean Six Sigma belts. And as you go through, though, it will give you, I mean, a whole array of tools. I can't even name all of them. There's so many, right? And Gabe can probably attest to it. There's many, many tools to use. Eventually, you find one that really works for you. But you also get to dabble in so many that you'll find one that eventually catches, and maybe you understand that a lot more and a lot faster than you would some of the other tools. So for me, I'm really visual. So I like Pareto's, right? What we call a living Pareto. A living Pareto, it tells you where you are right now, right? Where you were last night, where you are right now. Some people like using run charts, right? Another program to look into is called Minitab. Minitab will really let you know how you're trending over time too, based on how far out you set your net. But Lean Six Sigma, do an entry-level white belt course. I'm pretty sure they probably got free ones online. But that's a way, if you're not strong in using data and you're not strong in using analytics, start out with a white belt and really give yourself time and have an open mind. Go in and fully understand it before you move on to your yellow and your green. By the time you get to green, you'll be to where you can really talk the talk and walk the walk and speak the language and be able to the higher ups.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no, and thank you, brother Nick Penn. Definitely going to give our brother who's in sales. That'll definitely add to the Hall of the Game. Dr. DXX, This is a brother. We're going to talk about automation tomorrow. A brother who's got a mastery. So we're going to talk to brother Dr. DXX. And again, I do thank brother Rance Turner and Gabe A. A lot of brothers are emailing me. We're going to try to get brother Engineering Cannabis. So, and again, we're going to up the quality of this, and we might actually be moving this to its own channel. So, like a Hall of Game channel. So that might be coming out depending on how we can keep it up. But thank you for the brothers that are emailing us. Please, I'm going to hook up as we're talking, brother Rance Turner with brother Black Heights.
Yes,
but let me ask brother Gabe and brother Rance
I did want to add on that too.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Build on that, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, because part of what you said too in your question was asking how are individuals moving up in corporate environments or just in leadership levels without really having good analytics. And I think Rich pretty much laid a lot of it out last night, is having things that are a bit in like those intangible soft skills, right? Even speaking about sports, right? A lot of times people look at Kobe Bryant and they kind of start to go back on his career and speak about his inefficiencies, his high rated shooting, and a lot of times he didn't always take the best shots. It'll be 1 against 3. I mean, people used to make memes about it. But what were some of those intangibles that he had that really made him a 5-time NBA champion? Right. A lot of times people just throw it to Shaq, but people forget that he won two by himself with a decent squad. Right. And some of those intangibles are those leadership skills, right? The ability to step in and take charge. Some of those things that Rich spoke about learning from JROTC, how he would just come and step in front and learn how to be a leader, right? That didn't come from necessarily analytics, but it was something in some of those intangibles that he had, those leadership qualities that can't necessarily be put on paper, but it's something that really has helped him progress in his career. So I would say that even if you don't have a lot of those analytic skills and ability to evaluate data that will push you up in management, you can very much so rely on some of those intangibles, like just being a relatable person, a person who is approachable, a person who has a good temperament. Like you don't always only have to focus on numbers. That will definitely propel you even more. But having those intangibles is also important in moving up that ladder.
Let's do this, and shout out to Black Heights with this comment. You better have someone on your team that is strong in analytics. The fundamentals to effective management is to retain your people and to get results. And analytics is a must to get results. Let's kind of focus a little bit on, if we don't mind. We talked a lot about analytics. Let's focus on those intangibles, right? Because you're right about Kobe Bryant. He had that. He did have that, what they call the Mamba mindset, kind of a killer instinct, willingness to take over. There are many intangibles some can have, but let me ask you, Brother Rance, what are some of the intangibles, outside of analytics that people that you think they can bring to the table in order to, become successful, in their professional careers?
Right. So, kind of hitting on what I talked about yesterday and some of what Gabe said. A flip side of it that a lot of us are really careful about, because we sometimes go into the corporate world with the stigma anyway, right? But a part of management is also being able to chop heads when it need be, right? There's a science to it. Of course, it's not like if somebody shorted you a couple of grams on your dime bag. It's way different. So in the intangibles that I'm talking about is you want to make sure you're being fair, right? You're somebody who's fair. You're somebody who's able to tell the truth. I talked about your moral compass not being in question yesterday when we had the stream. You want to be somebody who, if the information that you put out has to be good every time, it has to be accurate every time, because people are counting on that information from you without having the time to go back and check. They may be counting on that information to to kind of kick something else into gear, right? So a few of the intangibles are your word. Your word has to mean something. You have to be able to implement discipline in a fair way across the board for everybody. Intangibles are you have to be able to relate or get through to a lot of different people. So it may be one guy, he's from small town Iowa, and he didn't grow up around Black people, right? So you may have to meet him on his level, and then you go to a plant and you have a guy who is from a rough background, but he's really good at what he do, and the company wants to grow him and get him to the next level because they see potential.
Okay.
You have to be able to talk to him on his level. You take all of that between all of these people that you've worked with, and you may have to report out to leadership. So you have to get on their level and explain all of this stuff that you've been doing down in the trenches, right? So that's an example of intangibles that you have to have and that you're able to learn over time. You have to be able to take all of these different personalities, get the information through to them in a way that they understand, and then be able to take all of it and move it further up the chain and have a real intelligent and in-depth conversation with the suits, right? And the reason why I say that is I had to present what we call our VMBs, or visual management boards, to a guy who I just saw a couple months ago, banging the gavel for the New York Stock Exchange, right? I was literally face to face with this guy having a conversation, talking about what we're talking about right now. My conversation with him is way different than it is with my operators or my supervisors that I interact with on a daily basis. So those are intangibles. Nobody says, hey, the CEO is coming, you need to talk to him in this way. It's, hey, this is what's happening, and it's on you to immediately start acting out exactly how that conversation is going to go, the information that you're going to put down, and making sure that information is efficient.
Yeah.
Oh no, awesome! Thank you, D-Star from Australia. Gabe, you want to add on that?
Absolutely. I think that some other things too is that I think there's something that we see a lot of times within our neighborhoods. Coming up in Detroit, I just recognize that a lot of times I just don't give up, man. I just don't give up when problems are faced before me. I mean, I know one time, let me tell you, I was in an honors algebra class, and nobody in the class was doing good. This is like 11th grade, right? Nobody in the class was doing good, but I would always be the person in the front with my hand raised. I mean, the teacher was gonna what's it called, curve the I guess final grades or whatever, but I still was committed to stand. Like, students would just be talking, I'm in the front with my hand raised, asking questions on everything, to the point the teacher would even get tired of me asking questions. Let me tell you what happened at the end of the class. At the end of the class, the final exam, everybody failed the final exam. Man, I studied for that exam so heavy. Do you know I got the highest grade in the class by 30 or 40%? And do you know that teacher had, let me tell you about this teacher. This teacher had to apologize to me in front of the whole class. Listen, I did not give up. I did not give up. And I know that that's something that's very inherent, right? You could say it's pride. You can say it's something else, but I had enough pride in myself to say, listen, I know I ain't doing good, but I'm not about to give up. And I think that that's another one of those type of intangibles that we have within ourselves and within our community. And just one more of those is, I think that one thing that's really important is that I think that a lot of times, and we see this in Black manosphere a lot of times, we can be very easy to bring up a problem. We know how to find what the issue is. Right. But let me tell you, we don't move from that problem. Yeah. We will not move from that problem. We'll talk about the problem. We'll dissect the problem. We'll put the problem aside, pick it back up the next day, and keep on talking about it. I think another intangible is finding ways to move to a solution rather than focusing on that problem. So I think those 2 points are really good intangibles that will really propel you, right, moving up. So.
Look, let me add on that. And I basically, you guys summed it up so well, I can't add anything new. But I will want to add on to Brother Gabe, and I wish I had been a lot more serious. I was serious enough about my education, but not that serious. Unfortunately, it took me to get to like Rence Turner. We kind of late bloomers to the situation where we got somewhere in our 30s or late 20s, and it was a situation where you're gonna shit or get off the pot. And I think with some guys that when I came to Poland and I got, because you don't keep getting chances, but obviously I got a good one to come to Poland in 2015. And my mentality was, I'm coming here, and the only way I'm leaving here without what I came here for is in a box.
Yep.
That's the only way. When I decided to at least be serious about producing content as I had the time to do it or develop it or whatever. And when I get my mind made up to do something, that's what I want to do. And let me just say this, and I'm not trying to take a shot at any brothers in here, but I have noticed that a lot of black men that don't have a father when they're coming up, it is difficult for them to kind of have that killer instinct. That's why I think there's a difference between somebody like a Magic Johnson and a Michael Jordan, and then different from somebody like LeBron James who didn't have his father. There's a difference, and that's the mentality of a Michael Jordan and Kobe. They had their dad. I think a lot of times as black men, you got to really dig deep, and you're going to dig deep, and either you're going to shit or you're going to get off the pot real quick. So, and let me just tell you this. When you listen to Rich Turner yesterday talking about, I was working. I worked 6 to 4. Shout out to Brother Cornelius Edwards and Art Nustal. And I went to school from, 5 to 11. I did that for 3 years. And the reason why he can say that nonchalantly is because, when your mind is made up, this is what you're going to do. And this, this is not stressful. A lot of brothers, unfortunately, have not reached there yet. But I'm telling you, like Gabe said, not wanting to quit, not wanting to give up. I failed classes. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I was at a crossroads in 2017. Started making a little bit too much money on YouTube, and then I failed neuropharmacology and patho. I failed patho more for a half a point. So, and I had to retake the whole semester off a half a point, and I had to come back. I was a little embarrassed, but my goal was I'm passing it this time, and still barely passed. I passed by 3 points this time, and I was up out of there. But the thing about it is I refuse to quit. I just really do. I refuse to quit. Whatever I start to do, only thing that can take me out is death. That's the only thing that's going to take me away from what I'm trying to do. And that's why you guys see whatever I do, I'm successful on this platform. I just don't quit. I keep coming. I'm relentless in my efforts. And I think a lot of brothers would do well. Just be relentless in what your efforts are. Eventually you can improve, because analytics, you can teach those things. Intangibles are much harder to teach because that has everything to do with your own personal motivation. Unfortunately, you can't teach people. You can teach people techniques, like you can look at basketball drills. People have basketball drills. They can do those. They can do the fadeaways and stuff. But when things get tough, you can't teach how to overcome, certain things. That's what makes the great people from the good, But that's all I had to say.
How do you build morale, right? How do you build morale when everybody around you is just down, right? Those great military generals and leaders, right? Like, how do you build that, or how do you rate that, or how do you put that on paper? It's something that's very much so intangible that pretty much gets you over that hump. So
absolutely. And just to lightly hit on what you guys were talking about, whenever you hear people say, he has it, he or she has it, I was like, man, what the hell is it? It are the intangibles that we're talking about. It's what I was talking about yesterday when I talked about Kobe Bryant being sick and, really breathing hard during the game. And that's something that, it's either in you or it's not, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's something that you can't necessarily teach. It's one of the reasons why I know that as a culture, man, we kick ass in manufacturing, man. When I tell you I work for a really big brand, and O'Shea, you know which brand it is, but I work for a really big brand. And when you look around, and it's tough, man. I mean, it's tough to go in every day, and the bottom is falling out of something, right? And you got to be able to rally the troops. And all of this stuff is happening right now. It's not like, all right, I'm gonna go to my office and plan something out. I just walked through the door. Somebody walked up to me and told me this is broken, and everybody is kind of standing around what to do, and you got to immediately start putting stuff into place, right? A lot of guys who either don't come from rough backgrounds, they can't handle that much pressure that early in the morning. So when I look around, there are I work with a lot of brothers in leadership, man, who have it in them to just like, all right, I don't care what's going on, fuck it, this shit is gonna run today. You know what I mean? I even told my plant manager, shit, I'm damn near trying to keep from running through the damn gate when I get to work because I'm listening to NBA Youngboy or I'm listening to UGK, and I'm really trying to get I'm trying to get so psyched up that when I hit the building, I'm damn near ready to choke the shit out of one of these, just in case everything has went to shit. I'm already ready, you know.
Right.
So that's the
so you find that balance though, right? When everything is going crazy around you, and then you know that the numbers are something that you need to be able to capture and evaluate, right? How do you deal with the chaos combined with the numbers and the analytics? How do you deal with that?
Right. So if it's something where I'll give an example. So I was talking about having 15 machines on a production line, right? If I get there and my problem is at a piece of equipment that I've already been focusing on, 9 times out of 10, I got a good idea of what's going on with it because I've done that legwork at home, right? I've looked at the blueprints. Right. I've looked at TSBs, technical service bulletins, and stuff like that. One of the things I learned when I was in total productive maintenance, which is kind of part of that Toyota Kata type of wheelhouse. One of the things that I learned is, and as it relates to herding cats, if something like that happens for any brothers that are in leadership or that have big teams, the first thing you need to do, number one, you need to hold a meeting, get everybody together. Hey, this is the situation. This is what's going on. This is the plan that we're going to go with, and you immediately start delegating tasks to different people that you can go back and double check on, because what that does is it keeps you from herding cats, right? I got to figure out where this person is because they're not autonomous and they don't know what to do if nobody's right there telling them what to do. So I may say, hey, John, I need you to go over to our 5S board and I need you to update it. And after you update it, I need you to send out an email to our safety manager, and I need you to CC me in it, and I need you to lay out every action that you did, no less than 10. And that person kind of nods their head, and you can normally tell when somebody understands. They're like, got it, and they take off and do it. All right, Claudia, I need you to go out and I need you to do X, Y, and Z. I need you to go up to the front. I need you to check on the fountain machine to make sure that it's been cleaned. I need you to check that list on side of it to make sure that's been cleaned and disinfected. If it hasn't, I need you to go upstairs to the mezzanine, grab this, and this. And I need you to take care of that for me. I'll double back to check. So that's one of the things you start delegating tasks to your team members, and then all of the ones that you actually need to be at the point of the problem. So it may be a supervisor, it may be a maintenance technician, it may be an EMT, which is an electrical mechanical technician. And you guys can go over there and kind of focus without people kind of wandering around or without people breathing over your shoulder, just, not adding value. So that's one of the ways that I deal with. If I come in and the bottom's already the bottom has already fell out of something, normally I'll know because they'll call me, on the way to work, or they'll shoot me a text. They'll shoot me a text overnight. But when I hit the door, a lot of times what I'm talking about right now, I'll send that shit through a text message. I'll pull over and I'll text my supervisor, hey, you have such and such do this, and this. And by the time I get there, the only people that are at the machine are the people who are really driving value. Everybody else are knocking out those tasks that I called out in the text message.
I see.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But you definitely have to put a name to an action. That way I can track it. And if you didn't do it, then, I'm going to write that ass up. But
Absolutely.
I want to just make one. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
No, I just want to make a point. Like when you look at people who have, let's say if you're a person that don't have the intangibles, and I noticed this when I came to Poland in years 1 and 2 in professional schools, and Antoine Wade, if he's there, he can attest to this. You have the Gabes, the gunner students. They are the curb breakers, right? They're looking to and everybody hates students like that. They're looking to get the highest score of the grade and then come ask you what you got on the exam, okay? And and in professional school, obviously, one of the ways that a lot of people get through it is you feed off of other people's energies, because the workload, let's say in dental school, pharmacy school, especially medicine, something like that, it takes so much motivation to study because the information is vast and the hours are long. What I found out is if you don't have those intangibles to the level that you need to, if you get around somebody who got them, it's gonna help you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what I mean. It's different for playing football for, let's say, what was the Cowboys? Jason Garrett, that was his coach, right?
Right.
If I go play for Bill Belichick,
It's a wrap.
I know for a fact, if I didn't have those intangibles, then if I'm playing for Bill Belichick, if I want to play, I'm going to get him. And this is what I'm telling a lot of brothers. And the reason why I have these shows a little bit more frequently is because being in the ranks of somebody like Gabe, I do a lot of work for Phil on the African Diaspora channel. Phil is always on the go. He's always working hard. He's one of the hardest working YouTubers that I know. He's always producing things. He's doing trips to Africa. He's doing things that I would like to achieve. I know that my level needs to be to this level. When I'm talking to Gabe, I see what Gabe is doing. I know my level needs Rance Turner. I'm around people that, okay, this is what they're doing. I don't want to be left behind. I need to reach that level. And what happens is when you're around those people, you're gonna either sink or swim. And usually though, when you're around those people and you're somewhat motivated, you're gonna hurt or swim. A lot of people when they go to professional school, especially in professional school, you get around some of the brightest people that you're gonna meet. Anywhere in the world, I don't care. You take medical school, dental school, pharmacy school. People go there anywhere in the world. They're smart for the most part. They are smart. Okay. And if you want to be the best or you want to succeed and do well, you're going to take up some of those strategies. You're going to pick up some of those habits. Oh, you use flashcards to study. You're using Anki. You're using Quizlet. You use blah, 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 blah. You're going to start to pick up those things. And a lot of those things, you might hear a student say, I studied for 15 hours straight. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm trying to push myself to that. You know what? I'm trying to push. And then that's what ends up happening to get yourself. So if you don't have those intangibles, if you know you don't have them, get around people who got them, because obviously it becomes a part of your culture. And that's another thing too. People that have those intangibles, it's a part of their culture. It's a part of their lifestyle. You know, Kobe Bryant might be naturally inclined to be the way that he is, but don't forget, Kobe Bryant was always talking to Michael Jordan all the time. He was always in contact with Jerry West. So he was in contact with people that had this, and he wanted to be like that. But it's hard for you to be like that if you're not around those kind of people. So
in his first couple of years, he wasn't even that great. I mean, he wasn't the Kobe Bryant
for the first 2 years.
Facts.
Dale Harris didn't even play him.
Yep. Absolutely.
So a lot of brothers need to really, if you're a person that intangibles, I mean, obviously analytics is something that you can teach too, but analytics you can't. Right. You know, at your job, there's somebody at your job on analytics. They are just way more focused than you are.
Yeah.
Those are the people you need to be friends with.
Absolutely. You know? Another thing to add on to that too, and it's something that we struggle with, and it's something that I struggle with for every bit of about a day or two. As you brothers start to grow, and I'm pretty sure all of us can attest to this because of the environments that we come from. As you start to grow, everybody can't come with you, man. Everybody, you know, they're not going to appreciate. They're not going to appreciate the level of work that you're putting in. You speak in a completely different language. You're starting to dress different. And matter of fact, your vernacular is starting to change, and you don't know how many yards Zeke rushed for yesterday because how many yards he rushed for doesn't put money in your pocket, but taking those 6 Sigma classes at night does. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that we struggle with, because we know our history and we know our background, and we get excited and want to bring people along. But some people, you know, they're just not going to be able to go with you, and you have to let them go, because they'll end up being dead weight. Not in the sense of they're low value people, but they aren't where you are, or that, you know, their journey is not your journey. So as you start to hang around these people, as like O'Shea talk about, and it's something that I've done. Some of the most brightest minds that I've ever been around are guys who got me to where I am right now. You know what I mean? As you start to hang around those guys and you get excited about being good at what you do, and then you get to the point where you're actually trying to even stretch past what they're doing, the people who aren't doing that you may actually genuinely love, you know, you're not going to talk to them as much. You may not hang out with them as much. Your conversations are not going to be like they used to be. And you have to understand that and be okay with it, because if it's real, you know, they'll understand, and you guys, you know, you'll see each other when you see each other. But you are going to leave not just a few people, you're going to leave a lot of people behind, because they aren't on the same journey as you are. And I just want brothers to know that, be ready for it. and be okay with it, because the people that love you are gonna love you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Shout out to Uncle Markel. Now, I can't even add to that. He's touched it up so well. Anything you want to say about that, Brother Gabe?
No, I was going to say, I absolutely agree. I've experienced this. I mean, even with family,
Yep.
Family and friends. A lot of times, just like you were mentioning, like a lot of conversations, I can't really get deep into what I'm talking about because about what I'm doing, because it's almost like I'm speaking a different language. And again, just like you said, it's no shade to them. We're just in different lanes. I've been involved in some different things. You can throw out the meta, you can throw out the meg. I get it, right? But to family members and friends, people I grew up with, my homeboy, my day ones, they don't understand anything I'm talking about. And that's okay. But it's not as if, again, just like you said, it's not like I'm better. It's just that we're different now, right? It's just that I'm growing in my particular lane, and my lane is very different than theirs. So I absolutely agree with that. And just try, like I typically try to find, just as you was mentioning, some of the new people that in music. I try to stay up to date about what's going on within the community or whatever, not forcing it or anything, but just generally trying to have talking points. Say, oh yeah, I heard this. Like, I got a 13-year-old nephew. I gotta be able to understand what's going on with him. So just taking little pieces from areas that I'm not deep into to really be able to relate to some level to those people who we aren't in the same lane. That's something that I've done, So yeah, absolutely.
You want to add to that, Brother Wrench?
Yeah, man, it's one of those things that I've seen people struggle with. I'll give you an example. So I do this experiment, and if so a couple quick things. So my closest homeboy, I'm actually getting ready to move him up to leadership because he's done everything that I've asked him to do. He's proven that he's taken this information, and I've seen the change in him, right? But as young brothers at work ask me, hey man, how do I get into leadership? One of the first things I'll tell them, hey man, you got to tuck your shirt in, get your polo shirt. Basically, I'll tell them to look the part before they actually get it, right? And that's something that's an immediate one that people struggle with, because he's like, damn man, what they got to do with that, and they don't get it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you'll see them kind of gradually make the change. So I may say, hey man, go to Walmart or something, get you a couple of polo shirts and pull your pants up to where your belt buckle is on your navel, man. And get you some composite toe boots, right? And they may start out just with the collar shirt, but it's not tucked in. You know what I mean? Or they may get the boots, but they're really not comfortable with the collar shirt, and they kind of halfway tuck it in. This is where we are as a culture, you know what I mean? But I understand that, you know what I mean? And I just so happen to be in a position to be a little bit patient with them, and I know how to have a conversation with them to break down what I'm trying to do. For the ones who absolutely don't want to do it, then I'm like, you're not even ready to start having this conversation right now, So just little bitty tips and tricks as far as growing people, and especially growing some of us. I start working on their outward appearance just to see if they are willing to get out of their comfort zone in order to really start working on the internal, the internal or the mindset. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, man, that's a very.
Absolutely agree.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
And I say, I just absolutely agree. That's all I have to say about that one.
Yeah, and I just want to tell you guys, and this was I knew it was going to be a good show, but I think this was a great episode, obviously. And hey, Gabe, you always, man, I don't know if before almost a lot of shows, I don't know, brother, if we gonna be able to talk about these topics. And then once we get going, I want to add the 15th point to that, brother. I would like to build 29th situation I want to talk about on that.
I'm telling you, I say that every single time. Every time we about to go live. I'm like, I don't know. A little tired.
Right. Yeah, I'm tired, brother. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to contribute during this part. Yeah, brother. And the 37,000th point, brother, that I wanted to really bring to the table is, brother.
Man.
But I just really want to
brothers on, man. I don't know. I can't do nothing but add to what the great brothers you bring on. So
let me just say this, not to cut you off, brother, or anything, but I just want to say thank you, brother Art and stuff, for being here. You brothers are really contributing to the platform and to my word. There's some things I still need to do, but The more that we get, and like I said, I don't care if we get 30 people watching. I don't care if we don't get no super chats. I don't care whatever, but I think this content is needed. So I'm willing to do these shows. I mean, coronavirus, obviously, I don't have to be back in Poland for a while. So I can't always do them daily, but I could do them once or twice a day. I haven't even been live streaming as much since I haven't been on the continent. But if we do have the brothers that are talented, that are able to link up, that are able to want to talk, and I can verify that you know what you're talking about, that's one thing, right? Because if you're dumb, I'm gonna know it. If you know what you're talking about, I'm gonna know it pretty. Even if I don't know what your industry is, I'm gonna know if you know what you're talking about. You know, at least 30 minutes into the conversation. So, but most guys are legit. We're trying to introduce brothers to build this content up. Me and Gabe are we're in the works of seeing if we could make a channel where we kind of all render something like that. Or we could put content on the channel maybe together as a community. I'll be open to do that. Just to get the information out there. So if brothers are interested, let me give you the email. Mine is planetoshay@gmail.com. I don't know if you guys want to put your emails out there now, or if you guys want me to basically just have them email me and I'll filter it out.
Oh, you could do the first one. Yeah.
Okay, so let me do this, because see, I told you they don't want you Negroes bothering them. So email me at planetoshay@gmail.com. I'll filter you brothers out. And I do have a brother that's going to be talking about. He says he's an automation expert. We'll be talking to him
I'm definitely
tomorrow.
That one.
Me too.
We're going to continue to bring talented brothers together. If you guys email me, we'll put the time in to talk to you. If you're a brother that's in the travel, or a brother that's typically into this kind of stuff, I will take time out of my day to give you an hour. All right. And I don't charge nobody for it. If you have the information to benefit the community, I'm willing to do it. Last words from you brothers, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I would like to say one. Oh yeah, I would like to say, so a lot of what we've talked about over this stream has been very much so like the industrial and manufacturing, data analytics, but there's also other sectors of analytics, right? Because you can see a lot of organizations using it in marketing. You can see a lot of tech companies using it, and that's more towards that of software. So using like Python and using R and Golang in order to really gather large sets of data and be able to find some type of predictive analytics. And just doing a quick search, I did a quick search on LinkedIn about data analytics, and I came back with 162,985 results. And this isn't just random companies. I'm seeing Amazon, I'm seeing Facebook, I'm seeing PricewaterhouseCoopers, I'm seeing Microsoft, so I'm seeing MITRE. So we did talk a lot about industrial and manufacturing data analytics, but there's also other areas of data analytics that are very interesting too, and that are very popular. So did just want to throw that out there. And I think Engineering Cannabis is actually involved in that. I think he's a data scientist or a data engineer. So absolutely. So just wanted to throw that out there for those brothers who might have been looking for something a little bit different, but we just covered one area, but there's other areas too.
Yeah. And go ahead, Brother Ranch, go ahead.
Yeah, Brother Gabe is 100% correct. My wheelhouse is really merging people's growth and processes in order to increase productivity or increase output. Right. One of the things that I wanted to quickly touch on is yesterday I talked about figuring out what you're naturally good at. Right. And I'll give you a really quick example. The way that you get to 100K, or the way that you earn more, and the way that you be successful is you have to start thinking different. So if you're a person who likes Madden, right, and you play and you just religiously play Madden, maybe you should start looking at how that's actually made, right? Can you be someone who actually make that game, or not necessarily that game, or you fully understand how that game was made, you're able to do it, and then you get into that field. For the guy that you're going to have on tomorrow that's into automation, and I'm pretty sure I'll be listening and kind of super chatting and stuff like that. But you have that is a very, very lucrative environment as it relates to programming robots. So a lot of the brothers that are like Gabe, or a lot of the brothers that are I forgot the brother's name that live in Arizona that does coding and stuff like that. For those guys, they understand how valuable it is Because if I have what's called a FANUC, right? A FANUC robot, which is basically a robot that it really eliminated the job of like 3 people. If that machine goes down, and I got to fly a guy in, that's $7,000 just to, for me to get him into the plant, trained on our processes as far as safety and stuff like that, get the machine back up and going and go home the next day. $7,000, just that quick. So just really, really want everyone to open their mind, start thinking about that AAA. I talk about aptitude, autonomy, and ambition, merging those 3, and then figuring out how to change their life. But it definitely starts with thinking different.
Absolutely.
Oh, you there?
Yeah.
I had to do that. So let me just shout out to brother Kevin. Thank you for being here. G-Star, great show, guys. You guys are really giving me and brother Gay, like I said, I could tell you he's relentless because he was the one that's always here, right? And I know that there is a big upside in creating content for professional Black men. I know that a lot of brothers are very interested in this. These shows are always good. So we're going to continue with this content and see what can come out of it. And we're definitely getting a lot of brothers. We're the only ones, I think. I don't know any other brothers in the world, and I'm not trying to put anybody down, but that create this sort of content in depth for Black men anywhere. I don't see anybody else doing it. I think we're the only guys in the world that go into this kind of detail. But Black Brain Trust goes into detail in certain other stuff. They talk about a lot of things in geopolitics. But as far as being able to grab it and obviously use these skills right away into your life today, there's nobody else that does it like this. So that's the one thing. You can come to the Hall of Game and you can get this information and you can use it right away in your everyday life. And I think that's
just
one
like
of the
said.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of hypothesis here or geopolitical, and that's good, obviously. But here, it's stuff that we know it works. Yeah,
and just like the brother was saying, like you can go home right now and look at what you do, what's your money maker or what you want to become better at, and really do like a baseline and like where am I at right now? Where do I desire to get? Who's better than me? Whose other skills can I look at in order to get to that level or even beyond? Right? You can go home right now and really incorporate a lot of that stuff into your life.
Yeah. Anytime that Gabe comes out with a show or anybody else comes out with a show, immediately, that's the benefit. And that's what we try to do. We know that Black men who are interested in this content are looking for things. When men listen to stuff outside entertainment, men are listening to stuff to use right away. Whether it's in the pickup game or whatever, they're looking for something that, okay, I can use this right away. So we try to make the shows cater to somebody that if you listen to it, you can use it. And we're getting better at that as part of our content strategy. And so we got, Gabe, now we got brother Rich Turner. And guys, I cannot thank you brothers enough. We will have the brother on automation. Again, I am filtering. I'm the secretary. Brother Gabe has me filtering emails from Negroes. So, and then obviously if we get you to everybody else, but brother Maurice couldn't make it. Brother Andre, we'll have everybody on this week again. Any last words? Thank you, brother Earl Owens, for the support, brother. Any last words, guys?
Thanks for having me, and thank you, brother Rich, for coming a part and adding to the content. I'm looking forward for future collaborations, man.
That brother Rich is something else. That's a brother. Woo! That's like getting Deion Sanders in '94 on the Niners, boy. Like with a 2-point year when Deion came. Man, we won the ship that year, boy.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. I definitely I appreciate that, brother. I actually appreciate you guys and even the guys in the chat. Appreciate you all for tuning in. That it's super important for us to share this kind of information, man. We don't have. I would attribute this to our think tank, right? This is our think tank, how we bounce ideas off of each other and how we figure out how to change our position and situation where we are in this country. And it starts with these type of conversations, and it starts with guys getting comfortable enough to have these kind of conversations and ask questions without feeling embarrassed. So this is, I think this is one of those things that even I don't even think O'Shea may not understand how important and how imperative it is for something like this to take place, because you think about 10, 15 years from now, what this could actually turn into. It could turn into a conference where you have Black professionals from all over the world coming to, right? because he's all over the world. So it's super important. I think it'll save a lot of our sons in the future. I think that it'll change our perception in the world over time, because right now we're more than just age commercials on TV where we kind of blast it across the screen, or we're more than whatever the case may be, all of the pejorative information that's put out about us. So it's super important, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and kind of share my story and share how I came to get to where I'm living comfortable, and we'll definitely keep adding to it. And I appreciate you brothers. Appreciate the information that you brothers share.
Absolutely.
All right, and I again, you guys have given us. I got an email from Engineering Cannabis, Brother Wrench. I will put you in contact with him also.
Yes, sir.
And you already have his information, right? Gabe.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Engineering Cannabis, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, that brother Houston Phenom. Tell him my email is turnerwrenchturner@gmail.com. If he wants to link up. Wrench Turner.
Okay, here we go. All right. So I got that. So brother, so let me put that. So let me put his email there. And guys, we're going right to the Sunday Rumble. Like I told you, I do my Turner Wrench. I do my due diligence before we get into the nigga shit. So I do the work for the community, and then I do what you niggas is looking for. Whatever, Alex. So that's turnerwrenchturner@gmail.com for those who would like to contact him. That's the email. And then also go right over to the Sunday Rumble. That is the link. And yes, it's going to be cracking tonight. It's going to be the Travel Bros against Ramil, Super 575, Mr. Fantastic. What's up, brother Canese? That's a good brother right there. That's a good brother out of Memphis. That's a good brother right there.
Oh man.
So he's in the trucking. So I really want to know how the trucking guys are doing. See, the trucking guys on my channel, those were the guys who dominated my channel before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember you had a whole trucking stream.
Yeah. The whole trucking, and then the trucking guys, like them niggas fell off or something, or they got caught tricking, and then the tech guys came. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what happened to the trucking niggas, man? The niggas that drove the trucks, but my channels were dominant, still are. A lot of my supporters are coming from the trucking community. So I got to get my trucking guys. They're gonna be, oh shit, man, what about us, man? Shit, man, that's messed up, man. Brother, what's going on, man? Family.
Yeah.
So Auto Chris, thank you, brother, for the super chat. Glad to see contact O'Shea respect. Yeah, we're gonna keep pushing it, brother. So let me do this. Come over to the hall. Come over to not the hall, but because the Sunday Rumble. I know what you need to waiting on. It's gonna be cracking. It's gonna be a lot of shit popping off. So give me about 5 minutes. This is my third stream in a row. And again, thank you, brothers, for being here. Well,
thanks for having me.
You guys email me. Let me know. I don't know what you guys' schedule are for this week, but or time.
Isn't that Rona got me at home? So I'm
got you at home. Oh, I think Turner Rich, you still got to go in, right?
Oh yeah. I'll be on site, but I normally get up around 2:30, 3 a.m. and then I normally finish up around 5:30 to 6, sometimes 6:30 in the evening. So anytime after that, I'm normally free to kind of be a service to the people.
Dope.
All right.
Keep that in mind.
Again, Brother Gabe has convinced me to keep the halls coming during the Corona. And Love Seat and Nick, we supposed to get the gaming stream started. We're gonna try to do the first one this week for sure. Shout out to Love Seat Shorty. So we're trying to do anything and I wanted to say this before we go. Black men deserve the best content that I can give or produce or we can produce. I really believe that. I try to go above and beyond that. Brothers deserve the best. I even got a Miss Curvy, Love Seat Shorty. I got a Miss Curvy coming on this channel tonight, brother. The simp lives, the dating profile shows, the hit the wall, the thirst box. You brothers deserve it. If don't nobody else deserve it, you guys do. That's why I try to go above and beyond to give you the best that I can give to the audience. And some people, well, they don't appreciate it. I don't worry about that. I try to worry about that. I try to give the best that I can, right? So we want to give you brothers the best of what we can give and up the quality. I do know that you brothers deserve anything that white YouTube or whatever is. Y'all deserve the same quality of effort that we can give to you, brother. So with that being said, let's go over to the fuckery. And we're gonna see niggas over there. We're gonna be cutting up, acting a fool. Peace out.
Thanks for having us. All right,
Peace, brother.
I appreciate it,
all
brother.
right, Rich. Yep.
All
All
right.
right, bye.